In 2016, Angela Nikolau leans over a crane 640 meters above Tianjin. Born in 1993 in Moscow to circus performers, she grew up surrounded by acrobatics and strict physical training. Years later, people would review her climb of a Malaysian super skyscraper and the investigation that followed. A long preparation period led to that ascent. Another turning point was a documentary that followed her relationship and work across several countries. Let's trace how her climbs at extreme height built a visible and risky public life. Angela Nikolau was born in Moscow in 1993 into a family of circus performers. Her parents worked in acrobatic shows, and she trained in rhythmic gymnastics from about age 7 to 16. Around that time, she attended a Christian school of arts and later a specialized arts academy in Moscow. Physical discipline was constant at home and at school. She also worked as an art teacher for children during her teens. Those years of gymnastics prepared her body for future risks. During her years at the Russian State Specialized Academy of Arts in the early 2010s, Angela began exploring rooftops in Moscow. She climbed residential high-rises and central towers, taking self-portraits at height. Simple city outings turned into deliberate, unsanctioned climbs. Rooftopping soon became more than a side interest. She eventually left the academy during her final year to focus on photography and climbing. That choice redirected her career path. Art classes were replaced by unsanctioned climbs above Moscow. By 2013 in Moscow, she was ascending well-known buildings like the Kudrinskaya Square, high-rise, and other tall structures. Images showed her standing or posing close to roof edges, often without visible safety equipment. These photographs circulated widely online and drew attention to both the locations and her methods. Online numbers climbed with every new post. The climbs involved obvious physical exposure to height. Each new rooftop image reached more people online. Her name became tied to extreme rooftopping. Around 2014 and 2015, Angela expanded her climbs to more Moscow landmarks, including modern skyscrapers and historic towers. She accessed sites such as Victory Park monuments and tall hotel roofs, again posing near ledges. These structures were higher and often more restricted than her earlier roofs. Her online following grew into hundreds of thousands. Coverage often described her as focused on height and risk. Commercial partners noticed her reach and distinct aesthetic. Paid offers followed those early climbs. Rooftopping started to function as full-time work. In 2015 in Moscow, her name appeared in an investigation involving another rooftopper who had altered the star on a Stalin-era skyscraper. Authorities questioned multiple people after the star was painted in the colors of a foreign flag. Angela was officially listed as a witness in the case. The episode linked rooftopping with national symbolism and security concerns. It showed how these actions could trigger legal scrutiny. Public attention around her increased. Rooftopping now had legal consequences. By 2016, Angela was collaborating with fellow Russian rooftopper Ivan Birkis. Together, they planned higher and more complex climbs outside Russia, including a major attempt in Tianjin, China. That year, they traveled there aiming for Golden Finance 117, then the tallest construction site in the world. They reached the crane at the top, more than 600 meters above the city. The climb produced widely shared video and images. Their partnership now had global visibility. This tower far exceeded the height of her earlier Moscow climbs. After the Tianjin ascent in 2016, international coverage presented Angela as one of the most prominent rooftoppers online. Articles focused on her poses on cranes and ledges without safety harnesses. Her follower count rose into the hundreds of thousands. Sponsors began using her high-altitude images in advertising campaigns. The activity became both creative work and income. Audiences discussed the extreme risk. Extreme danger became the main focus of her online persona. Around this period, Angela's climbs extended across Asia, including rooftops in cities like Hong Kong. In 2016, she posted from high-rise roofs there, standing or sitting near the edges of tall buildings. Urban skylines became her primary backdrop. Each climb required covert access and careful timing around security staff and construction workers. These locations were generally off-limits to the public. Her online persona centered on these unauthorized heights. Ordinary city views contrasted with extreme positions. In 2017, Angela appeared as the main subject of a Danish documentary about roof-topping culture. Filmmakers followed climbers as they accessed tall structures without official permission. Her segments documented travel, preparation, and the physical demands of climbs. Viewers saw roof-topping presented as a specific scene with recurring faces. The film introduced her to people who had never seen her social media profiles. Roof-topping was presented as a defined subculture. The documentary exposed her high-risk climbs to a much broader audience. The next year, 2018, she took a leading role in another documentary project about online youth and risky behavior on digital platforms. This film again highlighted rooftoppers, including Angela, and their growing influence on digital audiences. Her scenes showed planning sessions, travel, and climbs that doubled as content creation. The work emphasized how visual stunts could build personal brands. Documentary appearances extended her reach beyond online platforms. Her lifestyle was examined in detail. Social media and physical risk were now inseparable. By the late 2010s, Angela's climbs were closely linked with fashion and commercial photography. She participated in campaigns that used her rooftop images to promote clothing and accessories in major cities. Shoots placed her on tall structures, sometimes combining formal outfits with exposed ledges. This contrast became a recognizable pattern. These projects created new financial opportunities. Rooftopping now functioned as part of a professional portfolio. Paid campaigns now relied on her high-altitude locations. Around 2020, public debate about extreme selfies and rooftop stunts intensified in various countries, and Angela's work often appeared in those discussions. Commentators reference accidents involving other climbers and tourists on high structures. Officials increased security and issued warnings about unauthorized access. Angela's images were frequently used to illustrate the risks. Her profile remained high during these debates. She continued posting new climbs. Her most popular posts appeared in reports on dangerous stunts. In 2022, Angela and Ivan targeted Merdeka 118 in Kuala Lumpur, a tower over 600 meters tall and one of the highest buildings in the world. They entered the site without public authorization and climbed to the top, including the spire. Photos later showed them standing and sitting on narrow metal structures far above the city. Local authorities opened an investigation into the unauthorized descent. The incident attracted global news coverage. It was a major escalation in scale and risk. After the Merdeka 118 climb in Kuala Lumpur, Angela publicly described extensive preparation for the attempt. She wrote that she rented a nearby apartment to observe the building, used disguises to enter the site, and hid from security personnel. At one point, she reportedly stayed more than 20 hours inside a small concrete box within the structure before resuming the climb. The plan demanded endurance and patience. Preparation matched the scale of the tower. Every step involved avoiding detection. Also in 2022, Angela entered the digital art market through non-fungible tokens based on her rooftop photography. Selected images from her high-altitude work were minted and sold as limited digital pieces in online marketplaces. A yearly compendium of NFT art included her work among other creators. This move placed her in a different segment of the art world. Rooftopping images now served as both documentation and collectible assets. Physical risk was directly linked to digital scarcity. One dangerous ascent could later appear as a tradable digital asset. By 2024, Angela and Ivan's relationship and work were documented in a feature-length film that followed them over several years and later premiered in the United States. The documentary focused heavily on their preparation for the Merdeka 118 project and on how they coordinated climbs as a couple. It premiered at a major film festival in the United States and was later acquired by a global streaming service. Reviews emphasized the height and danger involved. Their high-risk routines were now presented as a long-form narrative. Private planning and public exposure were directly linked. Global distribution increased their audience beyond earlier online followers. In recent years, Angela and Ivan have been based in New York City while continuing to travel for projects. Reports describe them planning new climbs, maintaining training routines, and managing a large online audience. Interviews often portray them as central figures in modern rooftopping. Their follower numbers remain in the hundreds of thousands. Between climbs, they handle sponsorships and creative collaborations. The work continues at considerable physical risk during unsanctioned climbs. Daily life and extreme projects exist side by side. This wider exposure contrasted with the small teams behind each ascent. Angela Nikolau's actions developed from childhood acrobatics into unsanctioned climbs on some of the world's tallest structures. She combined physical training, social media reach, and detailed planning to build a career around extreme height. What differentiates her is the repeated choice to climb without visible safety gear, while turning those climbs into widely shared images, films, and digital artworks. Scale, risk, and public exposure continue to define her professional life across different countries and media. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.